So there seems to be a new trend in the toy community. And I say toy community, I don't mean like the Facebook groups. I mean like toys, like the toy industry in general. And it's not just something that's spanning across collector product. It's something I've noticed that's spanning across all products. And that trend is what's old is new. All right, guys, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the channel. We got new content coming out every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you're going back and looking at our library of other videos because we have a ton of great content there as well as new content coming. What's old is new. That's the topic of today's video. Thank you guys for tuning into the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying what we are putting out. Today was something that I wanted to do because, you know, I take a lot of trips to retail. I like to see what's out there in the market, not just in collector. It's like when I do some of these videos, I want you guys to maybe think outside the box, like not as just collectors all the time, but just remember that collecting is a portion of toy production, but you know, there's kids' toys in there as well. And I noticed something recently that's starting to span both sides. It was something that was definitely prevalent in adult collector items, but now I've noticed it in kid items. So I've got a plethora of items here, some new, some old, but they're all items that were maybe items that came out before and just came out recently. But I want to go through these and kind of take a look at ones that are for collectors and ones that are for kids and see how they treat sort of the old is new sort of trend. So let's get on into all these items. I got a nice mix here, so it should be a fun one. So the first ones I want to talk about are the adult collector ones, and the line that we are going to focus on is the new Spin Master Target exclusive Batman Forever line, which took me by surprise because maybe I wasn't up to date on my news, but I didn't know it was coming out, and it just kind of took me by surprise, like I said, and Matt brought some samples for me to check out. But again, it's sort of a trend where companies are starting to do stuff that is vintage, you know, retro, whatever you want to call it, but it's new items. So here we got, you know, the McFarlane Superpowers line. Now this is a line I just started getting into. I started picking up only the characters that weren't produced for the Superpowers line. Now I'm not getting like Series 1, I think didn't have the look of the original Superpowers line, but he like course corrected. And now like some of these figures like him, Booster Gold, you know, Black Manta, Blue Beetle, like they look like they belonged in the original line. So that's why I've been getting some of these. But again, it's like what's old is new. Take the old vintage line, throw it in some new packaging, you know, change some things a little bit, and boom, there you go. So there's our Superpowers example. Now next, this line's been out for a while, and this is a line I absolutely love. The Masters of the Universe Retro line. I've been collecting this since day one. I thought what they did, you know, Mattel took the base bucks, left them the same, updated some articulation, and it allowed collectors to get the vintage He-Man line without, one, the cost of the originals, and two, without the rubber bands and the legs, you know, breaking and having your guys loose, without the stickiness of the plasticizer breaking down. So I love that they really didn't change much. They updated the articulation. Other than that, what you're getting is what it was, and it's like, you know, this is how it was. This was the version. So I have it all. I got, you know, Snake Mountain, I have Castle Grayskull, I have almost every figure. I'm missing like some of like the weird like PowerCon ones and stuff like that. But this is a new one I just picked up just to show off. You know, again, what's old is new. And you know, we're kind of eating it up. So now, this leads me into Batman Forever line. As I said, this line kind of like, it just snuck up on me. I must have missed the toy news where this was coming out, or they quietly just put it out. Now, I don't know if there's some sort of Batman Forever anniversary that's going on right now, but Spin Master said, let's do Batman Forever figures. And I was kind of like, you know, me, Batman snob, I'm like, well, that's kind of like, you know, my almost least favorite one. It's like Batman and Robin, then Batman Forever. But to me, it's like, as a kid, it's like you had 89 Batman and you had Batman Returns. It's like, if you were going to like redo a line, like, wouldn't you have done that line? The Kenner Dark Knight line is super hard to get. So it's like, you do something. Now, the thing that surprised me, and because it surprised me, I ended up going to Toy Vault and picking up an original Kenner Batman Forever figure to compare to the new ones. So, let's toss that over there. You'll come into play later. These are done by Spin Master. Now, the originals were done by Kenner, and it's like Kenner got bought out by Hasbro. And it's like, so my first thought was, well, is it the old tools? Now, there's no way it's the old tools because, like, there's no way that Kenner would have kept those. I think Kenner, like, scrapped all their tools, you know, once they were getting acquired. So that's why I bought the original one, because we're going to compare it. So I'm going to open these up and just kind of take a look at them and see, because it's definitely a different offering. You know, they don't come with accessories. I mean, Batman's got a cape. Robin's got a tiny cape. Riddler doesn't have anything. So yeah, I don't know what they were going for here, but we're gonna check it out. All right, so Matt just gave me a little tidbit of information that Batman Forever came out in 1995, so it's 2025. So it seems like it's the 30th anniversary. So that would make sense. So I guess they are trying to anniversary this. But again, are you going for the adult collector, or are you going for kids? If you're going for kids, they know nothing about this movie. If you're going for the adult collector, again, it's maybe not exactly everyone's favorite Batman. It did have its good points. There were parts about the movie that I enjoyed as a kid. But to me, again, 89 Batman, Batman Returns, those are the definitive, 90s Batman movies. So, all right, so let's get back into it. I'm going to open this guy up, and let's see what these are all about. And again, these are only at Target. See, it says only at Target here. So I didn't find them. Matt picked these up because I didn't have them. My Target's here. We don't have anything here. Not surprising. All right. So, does it have that new plastic smell? It actually doesn't. All right. I mean, it feels retro. It looks it. I mean, on this chest, he's got like this, this printing here that looks like inkjet printing on his chest there. So that's kind of like a modern thing they did on this figure. But let's see. Now I'm going to open up. This is the original. Now, it's not the same exact. It's close to the same sculpt. But it is, he just doesn't have, he has a different arm in this version. But we're going to open him up and see if it is the original tooling or if it is something different. What I did find funny is that, for those of you Batman the Animated Series fans out there, this is the big question mark missile launcher that came with the Animated Series Riddler, which is a phenomenal figure. I love that figure. Oh, I can tell you right now, it is definitely not the original tooling because the figure is smaller. The original's smaller. By a good amount. Yeah. So, you can kind of see, standing next to him, this one is definitely larger. So they did not use the original tools. You can even see by the feet. Yeah, the feet are not the same. Not the original tooling. So that means that Spin Master tooled up new figures from this bad line. Okay. Again, I mean, it's an anniversary, but I'm just a little confused. I'm just confused on who this is for. Listen, guys, in the chat, if you're like, no, man, I love that line, like, cool, I'll stand corrected. But it is different. Now, it's, now this is where, like, kind of comes in that, like, McFarlane does this on the Superpowers line. He can't seem to get flesh tones correct on the Superpowers line. They always look weird. The original Superpowers line, the flesh tones were like a perfect color, but they were mold color. Like they were shot injected plastic mold color. They never painted a flesh tone. McFarlane's been painting flesh tones. And when you paint a flesh tone, it looks off. That's why like on Action Force, I always want the mold color to be the flesh tone because it just looks off when you paint a face. This original one, the head was molded in flesh tone. The hat, the wires, the glass, the mask, and the hair was painted. This one, they molded it in green because they probably kept it all in one mold instead of putting a shutoff on the mold to be able to run the head in flesh. And then they painted the flesh tone, and they painted the hair, and they painted the wires. Now, however, he had this orange hair, and then they made brown hair for this version. I think in the movie he did have orange hair. So weird that they would take this route. But again, I don't like when they paint flesh because it just, I don't know, it does something to the face. It dulls it up and it makes it like lifeless. Like you look at this figure, like you can see the lines in the face and it's got character to it. This is, I don't know, something missing. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know why. I don't know why. Let me see some legal lines on here. Legal lines on the feet. Yeah, it's different tooling, which, I came to that realization. But yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's open Batman, see what Batman has to offer with his, no neck Batman. These figures said Batman's very, very swole. And he didn't have a neck to him. So yeah. We got swole Batman. Yeah, again, you're painting the flesh, which is, I mean, it's fine for Batman. It's like, with Batman figures, otherwise you'd be painting the head. Now, the reason why you don't want to paint flesh, perfect example, for those of you Kenner Star Wars fans out there, Jedi Luke, the majority of Jedi Lukes were offered with his head molded in the hair color, and then he always got a brown nose because nose always rubbed, and you ended up getting a brown nose Luke. General Madine, he had it too because they molded him in the gray hair. Now there are rarer versions of the Jedi Luke and the General Madine molded in flesh color, but I believe the majority are not. There were other figures where that happened too. I think like the AT-AT Commander. But yeah, Kenner Star Wars was kind of notorious for it. All right, so it's weird. On the Riddler, the original Riddler, it's 5 POA. On this Batman, he's got, like swivel, like a disc shoulder. So I don't know if that was the same on the original figures. Where's my Joker card, or my Riddler card? Here we go. Can't really tell. The pictures on the cross cell are kind of small. They all look 5 POA. But, yeah. Like, he looks like he was the power beacon Batman. But I could be wrong on that. But either way, I mean, maybe they pulled a Motu where they updated articulation slightly. But, that's him. Robin. I mean, I'm not going to open Robin. But here's a look at him, Not much to him. It looks kind of odd. They did do a Two-Face also, and they're teasing a Superman. So, I don't know what Superman you're going to do. You got me. But, yeah. They also did, they tooled up this new Batmobile, which is interesting. Comes with, with a Batman. It's probably this same Batman. But, I don't think I'm going to get into the Batmobile. Just kind of wanted to show like that they went pretty deep in this line. It's like, hey, let's, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a bunch of stuff. But again, I have a lot of questions. A lot of questions I would love to ask people at Spin Master, like, what are you doing? But actually, you know what? I am going to open it just because I want to see. see what this is all about. All right, not much to it. Pretty simple. Hey, look at this. Somebody at Spin Master knows what the YS texture book is because they put a YS texture on this Batmobile just to dull it up and make it like a matte finish. Batmobile was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. What a silly looking Batmobile. I mean, I'm trying to remember what the one from Batman and Robin looked like, but I know this one's pretty terrible. Wait a second, is it missing a? Oh, there it is. You go from the 89 Batmobile, one of the most perfect Batmobiles ever made, to this Joel Schumacher garbage. If you love Batman Forever, I'm sorry. You just have bad taste. Alright. So giant fin here. Now it doesn't come with instructions, which, you know, it's pretty simple. It doesn't even have the instructions. Oh, there you go. That's their instructions for how to put it on. It's like, okay. I guess that's one way of doing it, to not spend money on paper products. All right. Let's see. They got some tape on the cockpit here. And our Batman is inside there.
I think he launches.
Does he really?
Like I saw something on the back or something.
It's just showing that he can go in the cockpit. Oh. It doesn't, yeah, there's nothing, no call out. Do you remember how much this was? 20 bucks. No way.
$19.99.
We were just talking about that craziness. 20 bucks. I mean, granted that, you know, there's Tampo on the wheels, but other than that, there's no deco.
The figures are like mine.
No way. So you get, all right, bravo, Spin Master, bravo. You got a $10 Batman, because this Batman didn't come with anything. So the one that comes with it is a $10 Batman. And you're saying that the other $10 is this whole entire Batmobile. Okay. Okay. Fair point. Yeah, toy pricing is wild, man. All right. Only thing I remember about this Batmobile was when Chris O'Donnell stole it and he went into that neon alleyway and fought those guys, all the blacklight glow on them. Why is he not going in? User error. His feet getting caught on something here? What's going on? Got him in. All right. There he is. Okay. Man, there's like nothing to it. Nothing to it. I mean, for 20 bucks, if you're a kid and you get a Batman and a Batmobile for 20 bucks, that's a pretty good deal, right?
What would you have done?
Like, differently?
Yeah, you make it sound like it's just kind of...
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, in the movie, this under area was all glowing lights, so you saw like the blue. I mean, if you said to me, hey, we're doing a $20 Batmobile, I probably wouldn't do anything different. Yeah, I mean, there's literally no deco, just the tampo on the wheels, and that is it. Everything else is all mold color. But again, someone was clever enough to use YS texture on the black to make it a matte finish. There's no deco in the cockpit, minimal deco on the figure. Yeah, I mean, they executed this. You know, whatever the ask was, $20 Batmobile, they executed it, and they did it. So, yeah, I guess I wouldn't do anything different. Obviously, if you're saying it's more than $20, I'd probably do something different. But that's what the item is. I mean, these are $10 figures. I mean, we saw today when we went to Walmart, like, what Marvel is offering for $10. And it's a smaller figure with one basic accessory, and they have bendable knees is the only difference. You know, I think this is a better offering for $10. These are certainly in a bigger package than the Marvel ones. The Marvel's package was about the size of this bubble. You know, not that you should be paying for cardboard, but it's just, you know, you want a perceived value. It's like, you know, if you had these on the shelf at $10 and you had the Marvel figure next to it at $10, it's like, if you're a parent getting a birthday gift, I don't know, I'd probably go with the Batman figure. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. But again, what's old is new. So, breathing new life into Batman Forever. So, I'm going to clean up this, and when I come back, we are going to get into a kid line that is going the what's old is new route. So, this is an item. I didn't work on this exact item, but I worked on parts of this item that got reused. This is an item from a line called Hero Mashers. Now this was done, let me see what the date is on this particular item. No way. All right, so this is 2022, so they're reissuing this. But this is a line that was out, I believe, in the 2014 to 2016 realm. Now this was a kid line that it was, you took all the figures, you could pull off their arms and their legs and mash them up with other characters. And they did it across a bunch of different brands. They had Marvel, they had Star Wars, they had Jurassic Park to start. Oh, and Transformers. And I fell in love with the line. I thought it was so cool because it was very toy-centric, you know, toyetic, or, you know, it had a good play pattern. You know, the mashing ability, like, oh, how cool would it be to mash, you know, Wolverine with Optimus Prime or Darth Vader with Captain America. So I desperately wanted to be on this line. I bugged my boss. I was like, please put me on Hero Mashers. Please put me on Hero Mashers. And it was finally, I think, like the tail end, like late 2015, he put me on Hero Mashers. The one designer that was working on it. He did a fine job, but I felt like I could, you know, breathe some new life into Hero Mashers. Now, Hero Mashers started out as this sort of experimental line. And, you know, retail took it. And now, don't quote me on the numbers. I'm just giving examples. The forecast on this line was maybe 70 million, say. And the first year, it made over 100 million. And it was like this new phenomenon, like, whoa, holy crap, like, this line took off. We want more. And then what happened was the sales team at Hasbro decided to push the retailer to overorder. And then the retailer overordered. And then by the end, they had all this extra product that wasn't selling as much. Now, the interesting thing is they had a forecast for 70 million. Again, these are not the accurate numbers. I'm just giving an example. They had a number. The forecast number. The line went higher than the forecast number, going well above everyone's expectations. Year 2, the sales were lower than year 1, but still higher than the original forecast of year 1. And then immediately everyone's panicking, saying, oh, maybe the trend is over, maybe the line's dying. So of course they're already like writing it off, where it's like, no, it's still making more than you originally forecasted. This was typical Hasbro. I'm saying typical Hasbro because I was there. I'm sure it happens at other companies, but I'm saying Hasbro was notorious for doing this. Forecast a number, it goes higher. Whoa, this is great. Over order, then sales are lower, then it's a failure. Well, no, it's still making a ton of money. It's still very profitable. But when I came on, it was going towards the end, but I was trying all this new stuff. So, you know, I'll show you. I'll break into this. You know, this set looks like a bunch of Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor. So here's Rocket. You know, the heads pop off. You know, the arms pop off at the forearms. You know, just simple little, you know, keyed, you know, attachment points. And then they all had these ports on them, these holes. And I remember, like, you know, the original designer, you know, they were going through rounds and rounds of coming up with the shape of this and what it could be. I'm like, just make it a hole. Like, they gave it this, like, techie design look. And I'm like, it was unneeded. It was just unnecessary. I thought that the styling of the figures, you know, sold itself. And then the whole port system was secondary, so you didn't need to. But, you know, they did what they did, and that was that. But I looked at the line, and it had so much potential. So I was like, man, you can do, you know, so much more with this line other than just mashing the parts. You could do, like, all sorts of different things. So I started to introduce translucent things, light up things. And then I wanted to do vac metal. And I got to do a Winter Soldier, and I said, can I do vac metal? And we did a vac metal arm for Winter Soldier, and it was so cool. But again, this was at the tail end of the line when it was kind of dying. But I'd done all these cool accessories for Spider-Man, and, you know, I did this arm, this extending arm for Groot. And, you know, it was just cool, like, it was a fun line. And that was, like, why I love doing the kids stuff so much, because it was fun. Like, everything about it was fun. This was such a fun play pattern. It was so cool to do. But again, you know, the line ended up kind of dying. Now, the other thing, which was a weird directive, was I'm trying to remember when Disney bought Star Wars and then when Disney bought Marvel. I'm pretty sure when this line came out, Disney owned it all. We got a directive from Disney, or from Lucasfilm, that you could not show the figures mashed up on the package. So basically, they were so protective of their characters. And I say it, and even me saying it, it sounds so ridiculous. It drove me nuts, because this is how close-minded people are with when big corporations have IPs. You're making a kid line for kids that should be fun. And on the package, you were not allowed to show the figure mashed up. So if you were selling Darth Vader, it was Darth Vader. So it's like the kid didn't know. Like, it wasn't very obvious. But you couldn't show Star Wars figures mashed up at all. Yet on Marvel, you could. Both owned by Disney. Tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't. It doesn't, and it hurt the item. Because, like, we're trying to show, and it's like, okay, I get it. You don't want us to show Jurassic parts or Transformers parts mashed up with Star Wars or Marvel. But because you own both Star Wars and Marvel, you could show your parts mashed up together. But again, a directive from Marvel, yeah, show the figure mashed up on the package. Star Wars, nope. So ridiculous. Okay, so I'm on the line. It dies. I was so bummed. They took me off the line. Now, at the time, I was trying to get them to expand into other things, not licensed things. We had only been doing licensed stuff. And I said, what if we do something fun like monsters? I created a line called Monster Mashers. I designed all of them. I did, like, Creature from Black Lagoon. I think I did like a mummy. I think I did like a vampire. I'm trying to remember. Or I did like the Headless Horseman. And it was so cool. The line was so cool. I remember seeing the models, and it's like one of those things where I wish, like, I took those models with me when I left. But they were so cool. And then retail was like, nah, it doesn't have an IP around it. We don't want it. And this was also at the tail end of Hero Mashers kind of dying. And I'm like, had you not messed up this line, you could have had Hero Mashers as just a brand for everything. Think about G.I. Joe Hero Mashers and, you know, those monster ones. You could have done all sorts of different things. Dinosaur Mashers. Like, it just, they dropped the ball. And I was so bummed because I wanted so badly to be on this brand. And I finally got on and it was like, as it was dying, you know. So I got to do a few things that were really fun and cool. You know, Thanos, Big Infinity Gauntlet. You know, I have to go back and look at all the ones. But I remember the Winter Soldier with the vac metal arm was one of my favorite things. But it's like, think about treating this line like Masters of the Universe. Like, do a flocked rocket. Like, how cool would that be? Flocked parts. Unfortunately, bad decisions, guys. And I know, you know, you get mad at me when I go after Hasbro. But it's like, bad decisions. Bad decision-making killed an amazing line. Now, the reason why I'm talking about Hero Mashers is because what's old is new. So recently, Hasbro decided to put out a new line. Oh, look at this. It's called Mix Mashers. Huh. Wonder where they got this idea from. Oh, because they can't come up with anything new. Let's dust off that thing that's been sitting on the shelf for almost 10 years. And let's see if we can breathe new life into it. So, you know, the regular figures were $10 back in the day. These are 12. But I got them because I was like, I want to see what they decided to do. And it's the same play pattern. You know, now I just saw Marvel. I didn't see anything else they were doing because I'm sure Star Wars still doesn't want you mashing up their characters. But you know, on the package you see all the characters mashed up on the back. Look at that kid having fun. Look at these kids; they're having fun playing with mashed up figures because that's fun. But they did do things a little differently. So I'm gonna open this guy up, and I'm gonna see what it's all about. It's old as new, guys. Can't come up with new ideas? Let's just see what's in the cupboard. All right. So they definitely changed the way the figure goes together, and I'll show you that in a second here. All right. Where's my rocket? Oh, he's right here. Okay. So whereas these, they had like 5 POA type shoulders, and it was just the forearms that came off, and then the balls at the thighs. These, they actually made it so that the whole arm comes off from here, and actually comes off easier, and then you can come off at the forearm. So there's more mashability with these. So that's cool. They also, they gave the connection points this neon yellow color, which is a nice touch, because these, it's like, you know, you have to kind of guess where to pull the parts off from. At least like this is a visual aid to kind of help you. So that's really nice. Now these figures, they're not as stylized as the original Hero Mashers, which I love the original Hero Mashers styling. These are still stylized figures. They're just a little different. A little different. Now the question is, let's see if they thought with their heads here. I'd be shocked if they did. Ah, they did. Someone there was thinking. So you can use the original parts on the new parts. Well done, guys. Well done. Well done. So, Hero Mashers version 2 called Mix Mashers. What's old is new. Now, it's just like, you know, I wonder how this line's going to do. Right now, nothing Marvel related is doing well. Maybe Legends, but as far as like kid product, there's really nothing that's, you know, flying off the shelves and stuff. So, you know, last year, the year before, or maybe 3 years ago at this point, they had the stretch figures, which was their initiative. When I was there, a friend of mine was working on them, this big initiative for stretch figures. And they did it, and I don't think they did well. Now this is like, this is the new what's next. What's the new play pattern? I just don't think they're you know, diving into it enough. All right, so when I said like they didn't need these ridiculous port systems, it's like, yeah, they just made them generic holes on the figure, and they celebrated more of the parts that come off. But they're cool, man. Let's see, here's Cat. Well, it comes with a cool, like, translucent Black Panther claw. See, man, translucent stuff. It's the way to go. All right, so let's mash a little bit here. Huh. Cat. Oh no, they're not. Sorry, they're different. I thought Cap came with the same boots as Iron Man. He does not. Too bad they're not the same color. See, start mashing up, ends up being pretty cool.
Civil War.
Civil War, right? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, they're fun, man. Like, these are fun figures. I mean, yeah, the original Hero Mashers were a bit more bulky. Let me open up. What's this? So, yeah, so Star-Lord, yeah, he's huge. Yeah. So there's a size difference between old Hero Mashers and new Hero Mashers. Obviously, Rocket was going to be a little smaller. But, so, $10, $12. It's amazing what years difference will be. But yeah, the styling of these was so cool. What a great line. This is still cool. It's still well done. There's definitely things that I like that they did differently. That is a win. That connection point, you know, like, well done. Well done. But again, what's old is new, and that seems to be what the trend is. Now, you know, like, yeah, it's kind of like, all right, well, I shouldn't really fault them for dusting off this old concept and bringing it back out, because it should have lived on longer. It's just unfortunate that's coming out now. It's not going to have the same pop that it did once, that, you know, back then. So, you know, I hope this lives on. I hope this line does really, really well, because I like it a lot. You know, they have, let's see, because this shows, oh no. So, all right, so I bought Cap and Iron Man. There was a Black Panther and someone else. This one shows Iron Spider-Man, Thanos, Hulk, and Venom. So they're going deep, which is nice. So, yeah, I mean, listen, guys, if you have kids and they like Marvel, you should probably pick these up. It's a great play pattern. It allows kids to get creative, like mixing, you know, the stuff up. So I am going to push this line pretty heavy. I like it. And again, yeah, I hope it does well. But yeah, that's my perspective on this new trend of what's old is new. I wonder how long it's going to last. I wonder how much longer we're going to see, you know, companies doing stuff like what Spin Master did with the Batman Forever stuff. I wonder, you know, if we're going to see any more of this, where like an older idea, like a play pattern, not just a line, comes back into the mix here. You know, maybe something like Creepy Crawlers or something would come back. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah. All right, guys, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the channel. We got new content coming out every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you're going back and looking at our library of other videos, because we have a ton of great content there, as well as new content coming.